Okay, fantastic. Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today, this afternoon in Korea, and for all of you joining via online, regardless of the time difference where you are. Thank you. We really appreciate it. This session for the Global Korea Forum is the GDLN session on how GDLN reimagined capacity building for development in the post-pandemic era. So we wanted to give you kind of a brief overview of what GDLN is, the Global Development Learning Network, and how it plays a role in ODA, Official Development Assistance. So the first thing I wanted to do, first of all, my name is Hae Young-yeon. I'm with the KDI School of Public Policy and Management in Sejong, Korea, and I am the head of the Global Secretariat for GDLN. And we have with us today various members of our global board and also heads of some of our affiliates to discuss with you the work of the GDLN. So very briefly, what I'll do is I'll just give you a quick introduction to who will be speaking on our panel, and then I'll walk you through a little bit about the background of the GDLN, and then our panelists will go through and also give you some more insight into the work of our network. So with us today is our chairperson of the GDLN Global Board, Professor Glenn Withers, who is a distinguished professor in economics and public policy at Australia National University. We also have with us Gershan Arunantham, the CEO of the Sri Lanka Distance Learning Center. And the Sri Lanka Distance Learning Center also serves as our regional, so the AP Regional Secretariat of the GDLN. We have also Lisa Maturano, who is the CEO of Blended Learning International, which is one of the affiliates of the GDLN, which is based in Australia. And we have with us Robbie McCall, from the senior specialist and head of the Learning Management and Implementation Unit of Simeo Innotech, and he is based in the Philippines. And of course, we also have Marie Tate, who is a member of our GDLN Global Board, and she is one of our founding members of the GDLN, and she is also here to tell you a little bit about the work that we've done in the last 20 years, as GDLN is now in its 21st year. So what I will do now is share my screen and walk you through some background information of the GDLN. And those of you who are familiar with GDLN, please bear with me. I wasn't quite sure who was going to be joining us today. So this is for the benefit of those who are unfamiliar with the network. So with that, I will start by sharing my screen. Okay, and I'm assuming everyone can see that okay? All right, so first of all, who are we? So KDI School, who we are is something we'll go over, and the GDLN, what it is, how it's organized, some of the Korea Center that we run within the KDI School, how we work, who do we service, who are our clients and our partners, and some of the impact that we've had over the years. So KDI School, so we are the educational arm of the Korea Development Institute, which is an economic policy think tank based in Sejong, Korea. We were founded actually 25 years ago, so we are celebrating a milestone anniversary this year. And some of the other kind of accomplishments that we've had through the years, in 2014, we were designated the GDLN Global Secretariat, which was originally held by the World Bank. And the GDLN is a World Bank creation, actually. So this idea to create this network of affiliates and members across the world to engage in various different knowledge sharing programs and opportunities actually was the idea came from the World Bank. And we've held the Korea Center since 2001, I believe, at the KDI School. So, and what do we do at KDI School? So we are an international graduate school. We offer only master's degree and PhD programs, And we were established with a twofold mission. One was to foster future leaders, especially in the public sphere, focusing on development and public management issues. And of course, knowledge sharing is something that the KDI school mission is based on, especially being the educational arm of our parent institution, the KDI, which is dedicated towards sharing Korea's economic development experience with the developing world. So KDI offers a global network of students, alumni, and an education that we have 4 different degree programs and various different career opportunities. And again, our school is unique because most of our student body are public officials. So we try to maintain a 50-50 ratio of international students to Korean students. And again, most of them represent organizations in the public sector, some NGOs, media, and also some private sector, but mostly public sector, public officials. And this is also true for our international students. And then moving on to the GDLN itself. So the Global Development Learning Network, we are currently at about 90 affiliates in 62 different countries around the world. The way we are governed is regionally based. So we have an AP Asia Pacific Regional Association that covers and governs all of the different affiliates in the Asia Pacific region. We have one in Latin America and the Caribbean, and also an Africa region association, and then also the ECA, which is East Europe and Central Asia. And all of these regional associations, we come together once a year for our global board meeting so we can understand what our respective regions have been doing over the course of the year in terms of the type of programs that we're providing, the type of needs that we are identifying in our region in terms of more training programs or need for knowledge exchange opportunities. And the formats that we use, traditionally when the World Bank first founded the GDLN, it was done via video conferencing. And we have since moved on to various different types of platforms. During the pandemic, we primarily moved onto the Zoom platform, which has proven to be very useful and easy to adapt for a lot of our affiliates around the world. In terms of how we're organized, again, we are regionally based. We have our regional associations as shown here, and then the Global Secretariat plays the role of staying in contact with all of the regional associations so we can convey any and help coordinate any cross-regional type opportunities for joint programs. And then we, through the Global Secretariat, all of that information is conveyed to the regional secretariats and then down to the affiliates and individual members as well. So we have the GDLN Korea Center, and this is specifically where we are at KDI School. We do a number of different things throughout the year, one of which is our distance learning series, which basically is offered every year. And what we do is we try to assess through our network of affiliates where the demand is, in what areas, what do they want to learn most about Korea's development policies, best practices, policy directions. What is it they want for us to share our experiences on? So, and then based on the results of that survey that we take, we design an annual program every year. It's a blended format. Pre-COVID, during COVID, obviously we were not able to bring them to Korea for the face-to-face training component, but thankfully we were able to reinstate that part of the blended program this year. So we offer online virtual sessions for every year. It's slightly different depending on the topic and when it's being offered, but for about 7 sessions, we would have people participate online. And then at the end of those sessions, you're asked to kind of submit an application, and then we choose X number of participants who actually get to come to Korea for about a 1-week training. So they get to see firsthand some of the things that we've been talking about in these virtual classrooms by visiting the relevant sites and locations that represent the sectors that we covered during that program. So we do that through the year. We also participate in various different programs that are offered up by other GDLN affiliates. And we share that information with our students and with all of the other members in the network. And also as I was explaining earlier, we are the GDLN Global Secretariat. So we take care of all of the coordination and communication issues at the global level. So the way we operate, again, very much our aim and goal is is about knowledge sharing, right? And this is our way of kind of contributing to this ODA effort. Like, we try to convey as much or provide as much knowledge exchange among peers, but also from experts that maybe some of our affiliates would not have access to into developing countries. And this year, for example, we covered digital technology and its effect on the economy. And this was the topic that we had our affiliates indicated as they were keenly interested in learning about from Korea, so digital transformation. And this was again offered up online via Zoom, and then we brought them into Korea for a week earlier this year. Okay. And who are these programs for? So we service a lot of different government organizations, and we work with banks, regional banks. We pull from all of these different partners to create the most effective program that we can come up with for our participants. So we have people coming in to speak and to share their expertise from international organizations. We had one program when the pandemic first broke out very early on in March of that year that we organized with one of our affiliates at the Sri Lanka Distance Learning Center, and we brought in speakers from the WHO. So it was very timely. It was done via virtual means, so everyone was there at the right time at the right place. So we, as a network, we pull from all of our like value assets, so we can offer up, again, the synergy that we create through our partnerships is quite strong. And then we open it up to the association and to all these anyone who's interested. So the great thing about the GDLN too is anyone can become a member at the affiliate level, as an organization, or even as an individual. And for the most part, most of our programs content is available for anyone to partake in, which makes it all the more enticing, I think, for people to become part of this network. And this is what I was talking about just a few seconds ago, the GDLN Global Knowledge Sharing on the Impact and Responses to the Coronavirus. This was very early on during the pandemic. It was March of that year. So the response was overwhelming, because we took this program and we offered it up to our Asia Pacific region, but we also moved it around to the Africa region and the Latin American region, and where everyone was very kind of eager to learn more about what the respective countries were doing in response to COVID-19. And I don't know if you remember, but Korea initially, when the pandemic first broke out, it had a very effective response to how to control or identify where we needed to, what we needed to do, and how we needed to do it. So a lot of people came to us to share Korea's experience on COVID-19 at that time. So the GDLN worked very quickly to put that together, just to share what we were doing. And of course, you know, everyone was making mistakes because we were learning as we were going. But the sharing of our experiences was very valuable in many parts of the world that we work in with GDLN. And this was recently, this was offered up this year, this climate change mitigation program, which was done through our Australia affiliate, Blended Learning International. So, and you might hear a little bit more about this program later today. This was also, the response was incredible, and we had participation from all over the world, because after people were able to come away from the pandemic, this is top of mind and a priority, I think, in most of our countries. So this very well received program that we can thank BLI for. And this was done quite a number of years ago, but I keep it here because I think it's important to understand. In the beginning of GDLN, we also worked with Vina Capital Foundation, and this was kind of a great example of how the GDLN was able to utilize technology to convey information in a very effective manner. So they actually helped cardiologists in Vietnam engage with the World's Heart Foundation in the United States to learn actual techniques to carry out various different technical and very kind of sophisticated procedures that they would normally not have had access to. And through the GDLN and this network, they were able to share that and actually walk them through what they needed to do for this pediatric cardiac care program. And this was also very well received, and an example of how the GDLN has worked in areas of healthcare, again, with climate mitigation program in climate change, and with the pandemic, with our program that was initiated by Sri Lanka DLC. So GDLN able to address these timely issues in a way that, because our affiliates and our network is already in place and has been for the last 20 years, we were able to come together very quickly and put this information out there when it was needed at a time that was critical. And just an example of some of the collaborations that happened this year through the AP Regional Association. We had KDI School collaborated with Blended Learning International on National Cyber Emergency Program and Emergencies Policy Program. And this is a sampling of the sessions that were offered. And then we also had a very interesting perspective that was offered up by one of our affiliates in Mexico at Tecno University on conscious capitalism. And this was a different perspective that they brought in about humanistic leadership that we thought was valuable for the region in Latin America, but also to share globally. And this was also very well received earlier this year. And this is the GDLN global website that pretty much kind of serves as the hub of where all of our information lies. And we have it here because we want to share with you, anyone out there who is interested in learning more about this network and how you can either participate in the programs being offered up or become a member and even offer up programs, because I think there's a lot of organizations out there who have valuable programs that they would like to have introduced to the right audiences, and even potential opportunities for partnerships with existing affiliates within our network, we do encourage you to go visit our gdlnglobal.org website, find out more about who we are. You can also contact, through this website, you can also contact the GDLN Global Secretariat, and we will be more than happy to guide you through not only the services we have on offer, but how you can become a member or get involved, or even become a speaker. We have so many different ways you can participate in this network, but this is a great starting point if you want more information about the network. Okay, and with that, I'd like to say thank you and move on to our panelists, if that's okay. So I think first up we have Glenn, if I could just pass the virtual mic over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Ha-Yong. That's a very a comprehensive overview of the great contributions that I think GDLN's been making, particularly as steered by KDI schools. So the synergy of that has been quite creative, particularly during the COVID period for us. But I'd like to talk a little about where we're going, but I'm an economic historian by training, and to know where you're going, I still believe you need to know where you've come from. So I'll actually try and blend the two, because I think it's important to understand the way GDLN has evolved and therefore what it's now doing, which rests on the foundation of its earlier contributions, including those that are so current from as evidenced in Ha-Yong's presentation. This is the third decade since the establishment of the World Bank. It was actually established by James Wolfensohn in the year 2000. Let me quote from the launch. Wolfensohn said, "As we look at the challenges of poverty, it's clear that money alone is not what is needed. We need colleagues who can learn and share experiences with each other. Distance learning is the tool that will enable this and benefit us all." And that's never been truer than during COVID, where we really had to rely so much upon that distance learning function, which was the original motivation for the establishment of the Global Development Learning Network. Let me reiterate, as Ha-Yong put it, what that has led to, which is 92 affiliates in 62 countries, from Mali to Mexico, and delivering over 1,000 learning sessions annually through the GDLN arrangements. So we've scaled up and continued the core of distance learning, while making it blended learning as well in better times, where we can not just keep a distance. And we cover courses, dialogues, webinars, conferences, but the strong emphasis, as ever, is mutual learning through interaction, but especially via virtual or distance delivery as the binding core. And our focus, I think I should mention, is especially on capacity building for civil service and community organisations for development. That is a special niche we have been focusing on and drawing on our affiliates for the focus on that since the beginning of the GDLN. For that first decade, we were bound together by an interactive video conference system that was subsidised by the World Bank. So we had video conference centres in regions, and the central guidance of accessing that and how you funded it and paid for it, and came out of Washington. But in the second decade, as technology became cheaper and more accessible, the organisation moved more towards a federated rather than a centralised model, and the GDLN regional associations across those four areas that Ha-Yong mentioned then became the way the organisation operated increasingly throughout the second decade. And then came COVID. The distance delivery model and the delegated responsibility model worked well, but not without some problems given the challenges of the time, particularly when you add to those things like the conflict over the Ukraine, which has very sadly and badly affected our North African, Middle Eastern and Eastern European membership. But now we're looking to a post-COVID future, which takes the regional affiliation activity as the fundamental base of the way the GDLN operates. And it'll continue to be so into the future, given the resilience it has displayed and given the customization that is offered to those affiliates and in the regions. But what we've learnt from the COVID is to complement that with more global collaboration too. We also want to be a global integrated organisation as well as a federation of regions. And what we're looking to is to enhance that with greater funding of our leadership and learning initiatives. So speaking for the global board component of the COVID experience, what became clear to us was one way forward was a series of expert webinars that we made open to all across the global network that we have. And that meant we got back a little towards sharing globally our experiences and our learnings, and not just the regional dimension, which can sometimes be too parochial, too conventional in the way it looks at problems, and to expose our members to challenges of how it's done around the world, I think is a very valuable supplement to the local learnings and the local engagements. So what I wanted to say then was that this led to a series of micro-credential executive courses, pandemic and resilience policy, national cyber emergencies, climate change. And this is a reinvigoration of the central global value add. So it's encouraged us to now think about what the GDLN look like as GDLN 3.0, new sharing oriented professional development courses, new learning materials, provision of consultancy services, better coordination, and backed by new funding that we're seeking from national and international government agencies and philanthropic organisations. And we're talking to new partners to share that knowledge, ranging from the WTO to the ADB, United Nations Industry Innovation Network, and to people like foundations and APEC groups and ASEAN groups and the like, and perhaps some reinvigoration of the World Bank engagement. So central to all this has been the continuing advice of our World Bank partners and the support of the KDI School in hosting the Global Secretariat. And so thanks to them, led by Haiyum, to her colleagues in KDI School and to all our participating affiliates in our global governance. So thank you for all of that. KDIS is too modest to mention the huge soft diplomacy impact that role conveys, and the genuine benefit, alongside the genuine benefit to all participants, enhancing knowledge acquisition. I can, just as Wolfson envisaged, I'll finish by saying my Australian foreign affairs officials are insanely jealous of this remarkable positioning that KDIS has allowed for the soft diplomacy through the GDLN, when you're doing that in conjunction with such wonderful contributions to learning and knowledge. It's a great contribution, and may GDLN live long and prosper. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Glenn. Really appreciate that. Okay, moving right along. Our next panelist is Mr. Gershon Arulanatham, the CEO of the Sri Lanka Distance Learning Center, which is also serves as the Regional Secretariat for Asia Pacific. So over to you, Gershon.
Thank you, Haiyum, and thank you, Glenn, for the wonderful stage that you have set for us to to present what DLC is doing and also how it is connected to the network. Distance Learning Center, that is DLC, came into existence with the World Bank as a World Bank project. And also it was set up to connect to the GDLN. So we exist along with GDLN. It's not shouldn't be a separate organization. However, in 2005, the World Bank funding phase was over, and then DLC had to. It was not funded by the government. It was set up as a company. So DLC had to find its own funding. And thankfully, my predecessors, I joined in 2015. They did a good job in making sure that there was continuous flow of revenue into the organization. And DLC became the secretariat for the Asia Pacific region in 2014, I think. And it continues to do so even in the operational phase after the funding was over. And here's the founding mandate of DLC. It is to create an environment of policy change and sectoral reforms through training and development for the policymakers. So it was a very lofty and profound, very broad mandate. And of course, without funding, DLC was not able to fulfill everything. However, as this DLC is coming into maturity, where our funding and income generation is concerned, so we are moving along with GDLN in rediscovering, reorganizing, and transform ourselves. So this is a vision and mission for 2023. There is competency development and transformation of individuals and processes. Please bear with me as I run through some of the founding objectives of DLC, and then we will connect, see how we are connected to GDLN in the present. So we were supposed to locally set up an advanced education center on our own and along with GDLN. So we have become a premier training center, and we are called Distance Learning Center. And in 2002, this was a very novel idea, and it was like GDLN. The reason GDLN is ahead in the curve of knowledge sharing is because when world was training in face-to-face and other physical formats, GDLN and DLC, we were concerned in the virtual and distance education. And we have developed a culture that is conducive for this type of knowledge sharing, training, and development. So the final point is how we are going to move ahead. So we will get into technology. We have a solid community of affiliates right around the world. And as you have seen that the knowledge that could be shared, the experience that could be shared over these networks cannot be compared with similar network that is available around the world. So coming back to DLC, DLC is established as a computer leveraged or IT leveraged organization. So you can see one part, we run the biggest test center for the Chartered Institute of Accountancy, CIMA. Outside UK, we are the biggest in Asia, South Asia. And also we run a point-to-point, about 3 point-to-point video conferencing units here. And we have a nice lobby. I think in 2012, GDLN members, affiliates arrived here in Sri Lanka and enjoyed our food here. And we also have virtual, knowledge sharing unit that's at the bottom. Coming back to GDLN work, in 2020, on February 28th, there was a very a unique case of a viral infection in Sri Lanka. There was a Chinese lady who got infected, and by the 5th of March, she got she was okay and she left Sri Lanka. But of course, this was a unique case because there was a pandemic that was raging around the world, and Sri Lanka had the first taste of it in February 28th. However, in the middle of March, GDLN was able to do a knowledge sharing session from Colombo with WHO taking part and sharing the how we should mitigate the risk that is associated with this pandemic. It was something very new, and it was a very interesting knowledge sharing session. And you can see the chief, the medical doctor who was involved in the pandemic, giving his experience on how this was mitigated in Sri Lanka. And while this was being shared, there were participants from Latin America and also from Africa. And we found that they had no knowledge on how this was going to affect them. People were going about in the normal way. So as Hyong said, Korea had a very good program going on to stop the rapid increase of the infection. And then that was shared over this network to the members. And there were 5 such programs on this mitigating the pandemic. Then we also had a very good cybersecurity initiative we took part in the Australian program and shared our initiatives and our experience. And this is one of our speakers who is involved in this cybersecurity program. So we also took part as not only as participants, but we also provide our experience to this learning. And this shows some of the programs that was done from 2020, where DLC Sri Lanka got involved with Korea as well as with Australia BLI. Okay, now looking forward, Sri Lanka has a very good network of affiliates. We very aggressively connect, and this is a robust network that GDLN has provided us with, where knowledge can be shared. So in 2023, we are going into the regions of Sri Lanka. We have, in 2020, we approved 5 centers from the Ministry of Education, 5 computer centers in the regions, where we can share knowledge and also maybe use their experiences to feed into the network. Finally, Sri Lanka is going DLC is going to invest in a very unique platform with 6 applications. And this platform, of course, starts with a learning management system, so that we can capture the knowledge, or we can disseminate the knowledge that we have through the network to our local participants as well as to the region. And we hope to have this in 2023. We are in the final stages of procuring this. And along with this, we found that we could run a separate testing portal for any type of testing, including micro-credentials to be tested here through gaming and various type of modes. And along with that, a training management system, TMS, which can support the profiling of the candidates, and also offering this as separate CRM, customer relationship marketing, where people can have their own databases of users. And research and analytics is another library research app, which would connect all our libraries and also research that is going on in Sri Lanka, which is at the moment mostly confined to books and periodicals. So we would want to have it digitized. The same way we want to digitize most of our learning into this LMS. And we want to have dashboards where decisions can be taken through informed through data mining and understanding how the real empirical data shows us. So that's all that we have here to show about DLC. Thank you very much. Over to you, Hyong.
Thanks so much, Gerson. That sounds great, the GKSP. We look forward to hearing more about it and maybe linking it to our GDLN Global website. That sounds exciting. Okay, moving right along. Our next panelist is Lisa Maturano, who is the CEO of Blending Learning International, one of our very active contributing affiliates in Australia. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Lisa. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ha-Yung. Firstly, if you can hear any noise, I'm actually giving this from Australia. There's actually a party going on to the right of me in another area. So apologies for any noise that you may hear. I've tried to close everything down. But what I'm presenting is actually the detail. Ha-Yung spoke about the number of courses and that had been run through GDLN. And this is an example of the most recent one, climate change mitigation. Sorry about that one. So basically what we do wish to go through are really the highlights of this course and how it really brought in expertise from around the world. We had global engagement. Ha-Yung did mention the countries. From my memory and further on down in this presentation, there were around 36 countries that were actually involved in this climate change course, which was fairly incredible. The delivery period was very recent. It was during June, July this year. To give you a bit of an idea of our speakers, so our speakers also were global as well. From University of Brescia, KDIS School, ANU, and there's another speaker list here as well. So we had quite a variety of speakers, drawing not just from Australia, but globally and within Asia Pacific. Our participant countries, as you can see there, were really quite extensive. You know, India, Afghanistan, Germany, India, India I'll put there twice, maybe it's 35 countries, Tunisia, Cameroon. But I basically took a snapshot of our participants as I went through all of their profiles. And not only the participant countries, but also the participant organisations, ranging from government sector, academic, and indeed the diagram that Ha-Yung had in her earlier presentation really drew out in this course the various countries, but also the various organisations that were involved in this. And, you know, we've got Belgium here, Bangladesh, and so on. The international organisations, and again, I've just pulled a few out from our participants. We had Sri Lanka, the University of Maraloa, the ANU, Asian Institute of Management, UNSW, Ministry of Industry in Zambia, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, the Ministry of Chiefs and Traditional Affairs, although it says they're in dissolution, but still Government of Zambia, Kampala, Zimbabwe. So just to give a bit of flavour to what we were doing. And I should say as well that this course was oversubscribed, but we didn't turn anyone away. We actually took everyone that were relevant to doing this course, but basically it was about, you know, over 4 times as many places that we'd originally assigned. That's how many more places that actually did come on into this course. Some other examples, you can see Pakistan there, Philippines, Republic of Ethiopia, Ho Chi Minh Institute for Development Studies, Vietnam National University, and I'm just sort of drawing across them just to give you a bit of an idea of the breadth of participation in this course. I should say as well that it was delivered via webinar, and even though there was a very strong community feel, which in essence is a real credit to GDLN and the way it's been run under Ha-Yung. Here's some examples, screenshots of our sessions, nothing in particular, but just to give you a bit of an idea, our sessions were always chaired. We always had 2 or 3 or 4 speakers, And they were fast moving, interactive in terms of Q&A for our participants to ask questions, and people coming in from around the world, like with what we're doing now. Just some more examples of screenshots. We've got Dr. Federico Macaranis just there alongside Professor Glenn Withers, who is delivering from the Philippines. Like all of our courses, we do run an evaluation at the end. The evaluation is anonymous. And so what I've just done here is to just pull out some of the feedback that was given to us about the course. It was very highly ranked among all of the participants. There were 80 participants on the course. Each session were in the majority excellent. Excellent or very good. I think that was about the lowest, very good, which is actually very high. And that was across a range of criteria, ranging from the presenter, the materials, the interaction, the learning, and so on. So that was very, very high. And what I did just draw on here was some of the participant comments. They were given an opportunity to actually comment on the course. And these are in the participants' words. So things like, the program is excellent. Please continue with more of such trainings. We appreciate. The program should have an in-person event if funds allow. A dedicated day, or at least a dedicated section for engaged discussion between peers and professors beyond the Q&A. And that was, I should just stop there for a moment to say, that was part of the beauty of the program, was that it really did foster this sharing of knowledge between the countries and people really wanting to participate and be part of this. Dare I say, even, you know, beyond the course. Thank you so much and congratulations. So far, everything was excellent. It has been a great course and we've learned a lot from the presentation. Loved every bit of the session. Again, this is just a snapshot, but really just to give everyone an idea of the sort of work that we do. And we do this in collaboration with each other and as part of our knowledge sharing. Thank you, Haiyung.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Really appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to now introduce to you Marie Tate, who is one of the founding members of the GDLN. And it's always great to have her because she is she can give us a lot of perspective on how the GDLN has kind of transformed over our 20 years. And where we stand today after originally being launched by the World Bank. So over to you, Marie, who is in Australia. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you, Haiyung, and hello to everybody. Thank you, Haiyung, for starting us off with such a clear demonstration of the breadth of our global development learning network, and also of the things that KDI School have been doing as a leading centre within our organisation. I actually attended the first regional meeting held in Korea. I think it was the second meeting we ever had in the region, and we've been so pleased to have Korea establish themselves so strongly within the network. Glenn did make some reference to Wolfenson's opening and launching, and I can remember the excitement of that day, the exhilaration as he put forward his grand plan and a huge, absolutely enormous gathering in the World Bank with, I think, some 125 countries represented. And he left the World Bank with the task of trying to find a way to implement this vision that he had for the GDLN. First of all, the World Bank did it by putting a lot of money into it, which you will all agree is pretty normal for the World Bank. They started off with the regions, and they had a regional director for each of the regions: East Asia, South Pacific, the Europeans, and the Middle East, and then also for Africa and for the Latin American region. And these different organizations they came up with different models of how to go forward. So in that period of the GDLN, which Glenn refers to so nicely as the first decade, we saw some fumbling, lots of technical problems. I know when I launched our centre at the ANU, it was just amazing. We had the entire ANU there sitting waiting, and the technique didn't work, and so we couldn't even have a session. But as life went along, the technical side of our business has become much, much smoother. One thing, when we went to Gershwan's presence, we heard how this GDLN and the worldwide community that it has established helped smaller developing countries to implement their development objectives and in the range of education and training, and how they could bring in expertise from outside. I feel a profound sense of success when I listen to Gershwan, when he tells us of how the Sri Lankan centre has developed over these 20 years. They've been with us from the beginning. They started off with quite a lot of funding from the World Bank, and now they manage it on their own. I was also really interested to hear that Gershwan and the Sri Lankan Distance Learning Centre are moving into an in-country network. That's another aspect of the GDLN network, which hasn't been emphasised so much today, which is that a lot of countries, in particular China and Thailand, have introduced very substantial in-country networks using the technology that was first of all assisted by the World Bank and then developed later on to encourage training. Our Chinese centre in Beijing sent in to us a list of what they've done in this last year, an enormous number of people in the thousands that they are managing to reach through this this centre over the last year. And Lisa then told us about the new collaborative programs that have developed in the post-COVID era. Not post-COVID, but more as we've gone into the COVID era and the development of our technology has become so much more accepted. They've been delivering programs which involve a lot of collaboration between the different centres, and this is a really quite a fantastic development within the network and leads, as Glenn has said, into our future for more collaboration, more access to more funding. I say in this transition that the Koreans have probably played the major part, which mollycoddled us, looked after us and paid for us to do this and that. And then when the World Bank decided they were restructuring within the World Bank and they needed the centres to learn to stand on their own feet, we in the Asia Pacific region were extremely lucky because we had the KDI school, who was such a strong centre. And they stood up to take on the global governance role, so important to maintaining contacts between all of the regions across Latin America and Africa and Europe. And so I would like to personally, and as on behalf of GDLN, make a very sincere thank you to the Korean government who have been funding this program through their aid project through the Korean development into the KDIS. So Hey Jung, thank you for all your personal work. Hey Jung, it's been a fantastic effort, and thank you to the Korean government and the aid program.
Thank you so much, Marie. It's always such an asset to have you because you are like you lived through it all, and so you were there. You're a first-person perspective on why the GDLN was created to begin with and how we've grown and changed through the years. And the the experiences that you've had are really valuable to us and shaping on how we need to move forward as well. So, and thank you for sharing all of that information with us this evening and this afternoon. Okay, our next panelist actually is not physically with us, so he sent in his video contribution. So if you will, I would like to introduce you to our next speaker, who is Robbie McCaldy, who is the Senior Specialist and Head at the Learning Management and Implementation Unit at Simio Innotech, and he is based in the Philippines. So we will, if you can turn your attention to the screen, we will play his video message for you now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So let me provide you with some details on what Simio Innotech is. We are actually one of the 26 centers from Southeast, located in Southeast Asia, under the banner of the Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization. Our official name is the Regional Center for Educational Innovation and Technology, and we aim for a better future for every learner in Southeast Asia. So a brief background on what Simio is. We are Simio, actually, Southeast Asian Ministers of Education Organization, consisting of 11 member countries located all over Southeast Asia. Alongside, we also have associate member countries consisting of Australia, France, New Zealand, Canada, Germany, Netherlands, Spain, and very recently Morocco. And Simio affiliate members consisting of the International Council for Open and Distance Education, Tsukuba University, and the British Council. These are our products and services. So we provide off-the-shelf, customized, and/or blended learning courses. We also offer massive open online courses. We provide knowledge management, knowledge sharing. We offer international conferences, webinars, education policy research, and very recently, we have gone into game-based learning. So as a result thereof, these are the courses that we're offering, online courses. We call them flexible learning courses. Guru 21 stands for Getting Up Responsible and Outstanding Teachers in Southeast Asia for the 21st Century. These are courses for teachers of Southeast Asia. Excels, on the other hand, covers courses for Southeast Asian school heads. Excels meaning Excellence in School Leadership for Southeast Asia. So far, we have been offering these courses, our Guru 21 and Excels, and these other Excels courses. Alongside, we also offer MOOCs, massive open online courses, starting with Teach On, Keeping the Passion Alive, Becoming a Better Teacher Every Day. And the third one is Early Literacy Instruction for K-3 teachers. This massive open learning courses actually complements our existing flexible blended learning courses that we offer in Southeast Asia. Very recently as well, we have uploaded actually, a game, an interactive game entitled The Principal, which is now available in the Google page, as well as the Apple page. These courses, the flexible learning courses, as well as our massive open online course, as well as our recently developed game, which is entitled The Principal, as mentioned earlier, is resulted from the completion of the 2014 Competency Framework for Southeast Asian School Heads. We developed this, we went around countries in Southeast Asia, a member of Simio. The main goal is to try to understand, actually, transform high-performing school heads of Southeast Asia. When we developed this, we gathered experts all over Southeast Asia, consisting of the officials from the Ministry of Education, the presidents, representatives from the Parent Teacher Association, the Association of Teachers and Association of Principals, as well as students, in order to understand what would be the appropriate knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values for school heads to become high performers. The same manner, we also developed the Southeast Asia Teacher Competency Framework with the end goal of creating joyful learners. We developed this with the assistance of the Ministry of Education of Thailand and the support from the Teachers Council of Thailand. When we developed these competency frameworks, we made sure that we get the imprimatur of our governing board from the Ministries of Education of Southeast Asia, and alongside we sought to understand what would be the priority competencies for school heads as well as teachers, and also to understand what would be the priority in terms of training. So the priority programs that were identified earlier are our courses resulting from the competition of these competency frameworks. So just to provide you a brief context on why we actually joined GDLN. Way back 2002, in the early part of my career in my other office, I had the opportunity to attend the first GDLN East Asia Pacific Association meeting held in Seoul, which incidentally was sponsored by KDI School of Public Policy. From there on, I was transferred to another office, and 11 years later, I rejoined GDLN under a new organization, Simeo Innotech. We, as an organization, purposely joined GDLN in order to do the following: contribute to the existing knowledge exchange, and also to receive contents from the members of the GDLN community. To be more specific, KDI School of Public Policy. Alongside, we continuously receive support from KDI School of Public Policy, primarily when we decided to conduct our first face-to-face session way back 2018 for our flexible learning tutors or our online course facilitators. We invited experts from KDI School to talk about how do we better prepare ourselves as online course facilitator, and also to take advantage of the network. Incidentally, most of our flexible learning tutors or online course facilitators are themselves officials from higher education institutions all over Southeast Asia, but generally from the Philippines, who we visited Seoul during that time. Alongside with this partnership with GDLN, we received contents. We were invited to the series of e-commerce courses, blended learning courses offered by the Asia Pacific Finance Development Center based in Shanghai, Shanghai National Accounting Institute, as well as the KDI School, when they sought our assistance to offer the master's degree courses in accounting and business administration. Within the same period, despite the so-called temporary closure of the world due to pandemic, we continuously contributed, we continuously participated in the offerings of KDI School on the courses that focused on performance management, blockchain, digital transformation. KDI School also, in cooperation with Blended Learning International of Australia, offered a series of executive certificate courses. This also paved the way to a wider understanding of the so-called micro-credentials and eventually the issues or concerns on blockchain development. In our own way, we also partnered with GDLN Sri Lanka and Thailand when we offered our Southeast Asian version of the Guru 21 course that I mentioned earlier. In the same manner, while the world is sleeping due to the pandemic, we also again sought assistance of KDI School to provide us with their expertise on online course administration when we offered our first online capacity building course for our flexible learning tutors way back June 2021. These are the faces, these are the experts, these are officials from higher education institutions, as well as the Ministry of Education of the Philippines. Alongside with the assistance of GDLN, with our exposure with GDLN Asia Pacific, we recently launched at the Simeo Inetex Regional Forum. We called it It's Time to Reinvent Our Schools. Or traditionally, we call it a school of everything, a school for everyone. This is an online international conference recently concluded January 27 to 28 this year. These were the results. We have actually invited 350 educators all over Southeast Asia and asked them this question: how might we reinvent schools for a better future for every learner in Southeast Asia? Alongside the results, the resulting discussions of experts came up with these initiatives or priorities: reinventing learning delivery, reinventing and empowering teachers, reinventing the schools for better future, reinventing towards a more learner-centered, practical, and context-based curriculum, reinventing towards a more authentic learning assessment, reinventing for transformative school leadership, and so on, and finally reinventing the environment. So this context, with the help of GDLN Asia Pacific, with the help of KDI School of Public Policy, with the help of Blended Learning International, with the help of all other members of GDLN Asia Pacific who have been giving contents, who have been sharing their contents to Simeo Inetex and receiving contents from Simeo Inetex as well. We thank them, we thank everyone for your contributions. Then we ask this question most of the time: so what now, given the pandemic? Since almost everyone is still into online learning or the so-called new normal, they decided, yes, we do want to do face-to-face, but at the end of the day, we are already more adept in online learning. So the question now is, what did I enjoy the most in my online learning experience? What did I find difficult? And finally, how can I be a joyful learner? With that, may I reiterate the famous situation right now, because Filipinos are now very fond of movies, soap operas from Korea. Let me quote from the one of the characters in the Alice, the Book of Prophecy, who then mentioned, I cannot go back to yesterday because I'm a different person from who I was then. Again, thank you everyone. This is Robbie Macalde from Simeo Inetex, and congratulations GDLN Korea for this GDLN forum. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. I know Robbie's not here, but we're very grateful for your participation in today's program. And that actually concludes the presentations that we have prepared from our panelists. And I just wanted to say that what we wanted to do during this session today is not only introduce those of you who've never heard of GDLN, the Global Development Learning Network, before, and the work that we do, but also kind of highlight that it is a network that focuses on knowledge sharing and promoting as much as possible the ability to provide people in need, countries in need of learning from resources that they do not normally have access to. And this is very much a form of ODA, and us being able to provide that type of assistance to the developing world and those who want to learn from even our mistakes, from the best practices that we share through our training programs, and also just to see what others are doing in various different parts of the world. What this network has proven over and over again, and the reason why we're still here after 20 plus years is because we do have something to gain. Everyone is, I think, understanding that there is definitely a perceived value in this network, and the individual affiliates that contribute to it with the knowledge that they're sharing, the expertise that they're sharing, the access to all of these different resources that normally we would not have access to. And that is how we are helping the developing world and helping each other. So I hope that was clear in the various different presentations that was delivered from our panelists today. And I'm very grateful to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for the time that you have given us. And we're all about helping the rest of the world understand what the GDLN is doing and how we hope to continue to do what we're doing. And we encourage those of you who are unfamiliar to do access the GDLN Global website. Once again, gdlnglobal.org. Learn more about us, ask us any questions. We're happy to engage with you, whomever you are, wherever you are. And with that, we'd like to conclude today's session for the Global Korea Forum by sharing a video that we produced to commemorate our 20th anniversary, which was last year. And this gives you a very nice kind of comprehensive overview of our history. So I'd like to draw your attention to the screen one last time, and we will close with that video. And I think, Glenn, we could just close from there and we'll be okay. Okay, so thank you so much for your participation today. We really appreciate it. Please stay and watch the video because it's a good one. Okay, thanks so much, everyone.
On June 21, 2000, the World Bank launched the Global Development Learning Network, the GDLN, an initiative that connects development practitioners from around the world to share development knowledge using 21st century technologies.
We can use technology to ensure that everybody in the world has equal access to knowledge. And this Global Development Learning Network, which we are launching today, is, I think, a superb example of how it is that we can share ideas together.
The very first GDLN video conference connected 17 GDLN affiliates who engaged in a global dialogue to discuss the potential impact of GDLN on the future of development.
And of course, a program such as this, as the Global Development Learning Network, is of tremendous opportunities for countries like ours, because it connects us to the rest of the world.
Since 2000, the network of 17 GDLN affiliates grew to a robust network of 84 affiliates in 57 countries. GDLN affiliates work with in-country networks within their regional associations and cross-regional partners to enrich GDLN programs, which include training courses, multi-country dialogues, blended learning programs, and virtual conferences.
And I was involved in the actual creation of the board, which was a wonderful experience. I joined as a member of the ANU GDLN affiliate. It's just wonderful to see how peoples from across the Asia Pacific region, but also right across the world, can come together and work on programs, work programs up together, and then execute them successfully. It's been a very, very rewarding experience.
GDLN was very much a visionary undertaking and was a trendsetter. It was a vision for how the world of development would function in the future, the kinds of things and infrastructures that would be needed for that.
Many of the approaches to the design and implementation of virtual knowledge sharing that are coming to the forefront were in fact developed by GDLN, which was a pioneer in that respect.
GDLN has been an invaluable tool for organizing just-in-time responses for countries in crisis so they can draw upon the experiences of other partner countries. GDLN has helped facilitate dialogues and consultations by taking a South-South learning approach.
Ainsi, le GDLN, en mettant en contact des experts et des cadres africains avec leurs homologues du reste du monde, en contact virtuel naturellement, contribue fortement au renforcement des capacités et des compétences des cadres avec une valorisation des expertises locales et des expertises continentales.
On July 2014, Korea Development Institute School of Public Policy and Management agreed to take over the GDLN Global Secretariat from the World Bank. The transition signified GDLN's maturation into an independent network of learning institutions. In response to the network's growing expansion, the regional associations and global governance framework call for GDLN Global Board meetings and GDLN regional meetings annually. The Global Board meetings have allowed members to explore opportunities to work across regions and accelerate the scope and impact of GDLN development programs.
We are living at the moment in extraordinary times. From the GDLN community's perspective, I am sure many people feel like finally the world sees the value of investing in well-designed distance learning experiences that use mixed methods in order to create a positive learning experiences across the distance with the means that we have. Normal content needs to be reconfigured, and very few people have done this. So my biggest surprise over the last 9 months is that yes, GDLN still sits on an absolute unique value proposition.
Where I think in our third decade, GDLN 3.0 is moving on top of the many hundreds of programs our wonderful affiliates produce, and together in many cases, but now also across all of our membership with a number of what I'm thinking of as flagship programs. And that's been wonderfully successful and where we're headed, I think.
En Latinoamérica nos enfrentamos a algunos retos. La colaboración en algunos momentos no fue tan fácil como nosotros pensábamos, pero creo que siempre ha prevalecido el interés de compartir esas experiencias, esos aprendizajes, esas buenas prácticas para apoyarnos entre todos. Entonces, en ese uso de tecnología, en ese manejo de la tecnología, pensamos que era importante con este espíritu de compartir conocimiento, de desarrollar habilidades, el que pudiéramos tener un sitio web, una comunidad virtual que nos permitiera intercambiar y mantener esa comunicación constante con los países de la red global.
Congratulations, GDLN, to 20 years anniversary. I wish all the best. You changed my point of view and you did the good job. And the knowledge which I gain in GDLN will be my handbook in my work, in my future, in my life. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, GDLN friends and family, on your 20th anniversary. It's been great being part of the process and watching you grow, and I look forward to seeing where GDLN goes in the future.
Congratulations for GDLN's 20th anniversary. Office of Academic Resources, Chulalongkorn University, feels truly honored to be a part of this achievement.
We were very glad to join the GDLN, the big family in the world. We are very happy to co-organize over 120 activities for more than 22,000 people coming from China and the rest of the world. Shanghai National Accounting Institute, as well as the Asia Pacific Finance and Development Institute, would like to work together with all friends in the GDLN family to facilitate more knowledge sharing, experience sharing among different countries to work together for a better future.
It's so great to celebrate another 10 years of relevant and important work in development that this network has provided. And I do think that GDLN continues to play a vital role going forward to bring knowledge and learning to policymakers and development practitioners all over the world. So here's to another 10 years of successful learning and knowledge sharing, and I hope we all see each other again in person very soon.
As the Global Secretariat, the KDI School of Public Policy and Management would like to thank all the affiliates, partners, and board members for its ongoing support and cooperation. The value of this network is numerous, but its very existence would be in jeopardy if it weren't for the people and their respective organizations that make this network still very relevant and timely as a key platform for knowledge sharing. Congratulations, and let's keep working and growing our network. Thank you.
I think that's a wrap, folks. So thank you for your participation, and we'll leave and close up for the day now. But thank you for the Global Career Forum for giving us the opportunity to exposit exactly what it is that GDLN does, and it's such a great contribution. Thank you all. We can leave now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.